Hello and welcome to the Federal. Chief Election Commissioner of India Sushil Chandra on Saturday raised concerns over the underrepresentation of women in Parliament. While addressing the event Sansad Ratna Awards in Delhi, he added that there is a need to have a very inclusive parliament when it came to gender participation. He stressed that although the first Lok Sabha had 15 women MPs and 17th Lok Sabha has 78, gender representation in the parliament still has a very long way to go. Chandra went on to say that the basic function of a good legislature is served when it is truly and meaningfully representative. He stressed that it must include diverse voices, which include the marginalized sections. This means a greater and more varied participation of women in parliament. But on the same note, he praised the number of women coming out to vote in recent elections. In 4 of the 5 states that went to polls recently, that is Goa, Uttarakhand, Manipur and Uttar Pradesh, the women voter turnout exceeded the male voter turnout and it was nearly equal in Punjab. The gender ratio had gone up in all states and in Uttar Pradesh alone, it went up by 29 points. This suggests an increasing assertion of citizenship rights among women. Even though Chandra had signalled a need for reforms for women's representation in Parliament, a report by the Inter-Parliamentary Union, a global organization of national parliaments, had stated at the beginning of March that the global percentage of women parliamentarians had increased by 0.6% to reach 26.1% in 2022. But the IPU report also pointed out that the quotas were one of the most critical success factors behind increasing women's participation. Among the 30 countries that had some form of quota in place for the single or lower house in 2021, 31.9% of MPs elected were women, compared to 19.5% in countries with no form of quota. The IPU report highlighted how it was important to have clear and well-drafted rules with enforcement mechanisms in place to ensure proper representation of women in houses of democracy. According to a survey by the PEW Research Center, more than 1 in every 2 Indians say that women and men make equally good political leaders, and over 1 in every 10 believe that women generally make better political leaders than men. In the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, women's participation exceeded that of men for the first time. The growing turnout of women voters could alter political parties' programmatic priorities and improve their responsiveness to women voters' interests, preferences and concerns, including sexual harassment and gender-based violence. The BJP had promised to pass the Women's Representation Bill in their 2014 election manifesto, something that hasn't been fulfilled till now, but will give major impetus to women's equality in parliamentary proceedings. South Asia has had the largest number of women heads of state, which include Sirimavo Bandaranaike, Chandrika Kumaratunga, Indira Gandhi, Khaled Zia, Sheikh Hasina and Benazir Bhutto, compared to any other region in the world till recently. Yet, the question arises that if budding women politicians have to be dependent on quotas to give flight to their political dreams, would that actually count as fair representation in the first place? Examples in the past where female candidates have contested elections as namesakes for their husbands raise doubts over the entire reason to provide quota to women in politics. For more such videos, log on to thefederal.com.